Welcome to the deep dive. You know, lately, it really feels like we're all navigating a bit of a storm. Just more uncertainty around, anxieties seem to be ticking up. And, well, those global happiness rankings, they're not exactly heading in the right direction.
No, they aren't.
You see it reflected in studies, from Psychology Today, BMC Public Health, even like the NBER data folks and the World Happiness Report people are saying something similar.
It's a definite trend.
Yeah, just feeling consistently good seems like a tougher job these days.
It really is a significant thing. And yeah, the data from all these different places, it really highlights that. You see it in individual well-being, but also these bigger societal measures.
Right.
So it kind of begs the question, well, how do we find ways to, handle this?
Exactly. And that's where things get kind of interesting. We've been looking into something that maybe on the surface seems a bit counterintuitive. Travel.
Oh,
Now, it's not just about the fun of getting away, right? There's actually a surprising amount of info out there from like travel blogs, sure, but also more formal research you see cited on places like academic journals and PubMed.
right. The scientific stuff, too.
Exactly. Suggesting a real link between, exploring new places and our mental state. Think about it feeling rejuvenated, getting a fresh perspective, maybe that feeling of stress just melting away.
Yeah, like hitting a reset button.
Kind of like a mental palate cleanser, yeah.
And what's really fascinating is how often these benefits pop up no matter where you look. That break from the routine, being in a totally new environment and having time to think. These seem to be the key ways travel can really give our mental and emotional health a boost.
And this is where Getaways comes in. They're a U.S.-based travel agency, and their mission is super clear. Happiness and wellness via travel. That's their whole motto.
Okay, Ninja Getaways. Got it.
Yeah, Ninja Getaways. Founded back in 2016 by Sunita. She's been a travel pro since 2011, lived all over, digital nomad, the whole deal. And Ninja Getaways really focuses on bringing back that work-life balance, that feeling truly refreshed.
That rejuvenation you mentioned.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And helping people find new ways of seeing the world. Singles, couples, families. They really lean into this whole idea that travel itself can be a pathway to feeling better.
So it sounds like Ninja Getaways is deliberately building on this known link between getting away and feeling good.
Seems like it.
And with Sunita's background, that global experience, they can probably craft trips that are really geared towards those mental benefits.
Right. But here's where Ninja Getaways adds, well, another interesting layer. They've also created this. It's called the Fun, Simple Coloring and Activity Book to avoid negative thought habits and create a peaceful, healthy mindset for kids 8-12. Educational, multicultural activities to mold children's minds for calmness and success.
Wow, that's a title.
It is quite a mouthful. But the idea behind it is actually pretty brilliant. They're using these engaging activities, drawing from different cultures, to help kids build a more positive mindset.
Ah, so not just while traveling.
Exactly. Whether they're off on a trip, Ninja Getaways planned, or just, living their everyday lives.
That's a really interesting strategy, isn't it? Tackling well-being from like two different directions.
Right.
You have the travel experiences from Ninja Getaways giving those direct benefits we talked about, but then the workbook kind of extends that mission by working proactively on the mindset itself, especially for kids. And that focus on multicultural, non-clinical exercises, pulling from old traditions and modern ideas.
Yeah.
That sounds like it could really connect with lots of different people.
Totally. The whole point of this workbook from Ninja Getaways is to give kids, roughly 8-12, actual tools, ways to calm down, see things more clearly, and maybe build up a mental framework that's just less prone to worry, stress, those limited ways of thinking that can really hold you back.
Yeah, getting stuck.
Exactly. And ultimately, the way Ninja Getaways sees it, this helps foster joy, happiness, satisfaction, and even support stuff like being more focused, developing emotional intelligence.
These are social skills, overall wellness.
Yeah. All that good stuff.
What I find particularly compelling there is that proactive part, actively trying to cultivate positive thinking patterns early on.
Right? Start them young.
Yeah. By focusing on children, Ninja Getaways is really aiming to build a foundation, like mental resilience.
Yeah.
And the multicultural activities bit is interesting too. Yeah. Maybe these different techniques offer different paths to feeling calm and well, that just click differently for different kids.
That makes sense. And it really seems like this whole approach by Ninja Getaways is getting noticed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they've apparently received recognition specifically as the Happiness and Wellness via Travel Agency. And get this, their workbook has even been featured in a Japanese clinic over in Vietnam.
Wow, okay. That's significant.
Isn't it? It kind of suggests their core message that travel and these kinds of mindset tools can really impact well-being. It's actually resonating across different cultures, different professional fields.
Yeah, that international recognition definitely says something about the potential value and maybe the universal appeal of what Ninja Getaways is offering, both the trips and that workbook.
So for this deep dive, we really want to dig into how Ninja Getaways is actually doing this happiness and wellness via travel thing in practice.
Makes sense.
And we're also really curious about their activity workbook. How effective could it be at nurturing positive mindsets in kids, whether they're out seeing the world or just learning and growing back home?
Right.
It's really about getting a closer look at this unique way Ninja Getaways is trying to tackle these, well, pretty widespread concerns about well-being we're all feeling.
Precisely. So we'll be looking at how Ninja Getaways blends those experiential benefits you get from travel with these more direct, activity-based ways of boosting mental wellness.
Especially through that workbook for kids.
Exactly. Through their engaging workbook designed specifically for children.
So just to kind of wrap it up,
Yeah.
in a world where, let's face it, it feels like anxieties are up and maybe
Yeah.
happiness is generally down a bit, actively working on well-being feels more important than ever.
Absolutely crucial.
And Ninja Getaways really operates on this core belief, happiness and wellness via travel. So they have this two-pronged approach, right?
Mm-hmm.
On one hand, carefully put together travel experiences designed for rejuvenation, shifting perspectives.
The external piece.
Right. And on the other hand, their fun, simple coloring and activity book using all these multicultural activities to try and encourage positive thinking and like emotional strength in kids.
Yeah, that dual strategy from Ninja Getaways is pretty smart because it recognizes both things.
Right.
How powerful external experiences like travel can be for our internal state, but also how important it is to develop those internal tools, for resilience and feeling good. And the emphasis on multicultural activities in that workbook, it suggests they get that well-being isn't like one size fits all.
Totally. Different strokes for different folks.
Exactly. And different cultures might have really valuable tools to offer.
So here's maybe a final thought for you to chew on. In this world that seems to be grappling with more and more anxiety, how much could actively fostering positive mindsets, especially in kids, maybe using engaging resources like that Ninja Getaways activity book, and also intentionally seeking out enriching experiences, like travel, how much could that contribute to a greater sense of overall well-being?
Not just for the individual, you mean?
Right, not just individually, but maybe more broadly, collectively. Perhaps it's just worth thinking about how we might bring some of those principles, whether it's exploring new places or just doing some mindful activities into our own lives.
And maybe into the lives of the kids around us.
Yeah, exactly. Regardless of, how often we actually get to pack our bags and go somewhere.